Good morning, United Kingdom. Good morning, everyone. And we have 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. drive time session with Lakhi Singh, the property fixer, the mover, the hoover, the shaker, the maker, the quaker, the moonwalker, the quaker, the squawker, the man who makes things happen in the square mile. Lakhi Singh, how are you this morning? How's the weather?
The weather is awful as usual for a winter's day. But life is beautiful as always.
For a winter's day, that means to say it must be sunny outside, Lakhi. Because if it's a winter's day and if it's awful, that means there's no snow, there's no cold, it's hot outside. Is that correct?
Not at all. I think the weather's a bit gloomy and a bit drizzly in London.
Drizzly in London. That sounds very gloomy for a man who's a fixer, who's always very positive. I would say no gloom, no cornflakes. But anyhow, cornflakes need rain. No rain in London today, Lakhi. Just gloom.
To be honest, I haven't had a chance to have a proper look because it's been so busy with other things. Focusing on social media, getting the message out there about the alternative property solutions community. So we've hit 1,400 people now in the group, which is very exciting news.
1,400 people now, going upwards every day, every week. It's going up an upward trend. We have waiting in the wings as well. Our previous guest who came on, Tracy Cummings, I think, is it? Cummings? Tracy Cummings?
No.
Right? No? Oh,
Hello. Hi. Hello.
Morning, Tracy. How are you?
Tracy
All right,
Patrick.
thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
I was about to give you the proper intro, like Luther Van Ross to Maria Carey. Waiting in the wings. I was going to start the song, but you beat me to it, Tracy, this morning. How are you, Tracy? And how is Scotland? I think, if I'm not wrong, isn't that where you're from? Scotland?
No, name's wrong.
Oh.
No, I'm in Bristol.
Bristol, that's nearly near Scotland. It's only a few thousand miles south. Is that right?
It is. Yeah, just a few.
You're the lady who's into property refurbs and flips. That's right. You're a gymnast. Yeah. That's right. I remembered now. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Apologies.
That's okay.
Because I thought you was another Tracy that we had up in the north, but you're the one who is in the south, Bristol, and who is got a different style to your partner. I think that's the one. Is that right?
A different style to my partner.
Yeah, I think your partner works with you or something, and
yeah, he does work with me. Yes, he does. I mean, we do see eye to eye on most things, really. It's just that he's very good at being. He's analytical, which is great. So he deals with that.
IT guy. I remember he's the one who's the IT guy. That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
and, so he does all of the due diligence and finding the properties, and so
he's the marketing one.
Probably yes.
The people
we must redefine our roles actually a little bit better because we're a bit blurred at the moment.
That happens in most businesses when you've got people who are very close, who are working together, the definition of roles. But that I'm sure you will fix. And if you can't, you've got Lakhi Singh, the property fixer, who can give you good business input, good tools to use to make your business a bit more efficient. Okay, Lakhi Singh, today's topic is a continuation of yesterday's, and that is, I can't remember. Hold on. How the RAC program, that's the one for Rescue My Properties, where there's an associate program, how it can change your income or your business position, and even so during the lockdown, because I think they've gone back to tier 3 lockdown again. Is that right, Lakhi, in London?
That's right. Tier 3 started again today. So
tier 3.
I did manage to squeeze in a couple of places to go out yesterday, take advantage of the last day of living in the world at large.
Right, at large.
So we did manage to get a high tea in the Waldorf, and we did manage to get into.
Nice. You're making us jealous. You are making us jealous. Our mouth water. You're having tea at the Waldorf. Very nice. Strand, mixing and mingling with the rich and famous like you do. Tracy, do you have a Waldorf in Bristol, in sunny Bristol?
No, we don't seem to have one of those, no. We have a Premier Inn, does that count?
I think you've got a... Okay, well, I think we have got, you've got a, is it the railway or something? It's called the Railway Hotel or something, or the Station Hotel in Bristol, I think. Have you got something like that?
I don't know of one called the Railway. Quite possibly.
Hello?
I actually live outside Bristol, so...
Can you hear me?
Hello? Yes,
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Hello?
That's probably in another part of England. Ah, you live in the country, in the sticks.
Well, it's about sort of 10 miles outside.
So what do you have that's the equivalent to the Waldorf out in the sticks then? You have a golf club nearby, or do you have a country club in Bristol? What do you have?
There are a few golf courses around, actually.
There seems to be a time delay.
It's a long way to Bristol from London.
Okay. There is a time delay. Is our internet working? There seems to be a time delay. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
All right, okay. So you've got some lovely golf courses around you, Tracy.
Yeah.
Lakhi Singh, can you hear me?
I can hear you absolutely fine.
Can you hear me now? Yes. Can you hear me?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Is there a time delay in our conversation? Lakhi, can you hear me now?
I can hear you fine.
If you can hear me quite clear, I think Tracy is probably testing 1, 2, 3. Tracy, your turn.
Yeah, I can hear you most of the time, but you are going a bit slower sometimes.
I think we've got a time delay in Tracy's conversation. There's a time delay. Can't hear you.
Shall I log off and try again?
Yeah, try again. That's right.
Okay.
Okay, Lakhi Singh. While we're waiting for Tracy to come back, yes. So the topic is the RAC model in the Rescue My Properties service line, the Rescue Associateship. Now, I know we discussed in detail about it yesterday, but I want to go into it in a bit more detail again, revise it and get to work out the important bits in becoming an RAC. Now you say it's free, and it's free while the covert is around, which is unknown, maybe around for another 2-3 months. And you say that you can make money off it, and the extents are quite broad. You can make £1,000 to a couple of £1,000 just by doing a part-time activity, and you could be making tens of thousands by making it a full-time affair. Is that correct, Lakhi?
That's absolutely correct. I think it's an amazing income opportunity, especially in a situation where the whole property and the business market and income generation side of what's happening in the UK is in a huge state of flux. So I think we were a little bit ahead of our time, I think, because we had this proposition ready about 3 years ago, and we were actually helping people that were unemployed or people that were a loose end in property, wanting to work from home, who didn't have much, an easy way of accessing a low-cost franchise, or let's just say an income model or associate model, not really a franchise. So we've been doing events and telling people about this for the last 2 or 3 years. So the whole model is already set, ready to rock and roll.
Okay, so now is it true then? I mean, the only requirement you've got for anybody becoming an associate with Rescuemyproperties is that they need to get an ICO license. That's the Information Commissioner's license to be able to handle data. Is that correct, Lakhi Singh? And that only costs what? About £50, £40? How much?
I think £40.
£40, yeah.
So that you can comply with any GDPR rules, because if you are collecting data and you are sending it and putting it into system, then you need to be registered as an individual or a company with the Information Commissioner's Office, which is called the ICO. So if you just type in how to register myself with the ICO into Google, all the right information will come up, and you simply have to pay them and fill in a registration form, which should take 5 minutes. And that's pretty much it. It's as simple as that.
Okay, we've got Tracy waiting in the wings. Okay, we've got Tracy waiting in the wings again. I'm going to call her in. I think we've got her in before I could call her in. Tracy, are you there?
I am.
Can you hear us live time now? Is it?
I can.
Is it
yeah.
Correct? Put
Yeah.
the volume down. We've got an echo, I think. We've got a little echo going
My
on.
volume down.
Wait, just a tad.
Is that better?
Excelente. Lovely to hear you in real time. And again, as we said before, waiting in the wings, the lovely Tracy. Yeah, the topic of today is, and we're going to continue it for a couple of parts more, is the associate model that Lakhi's got, that basically lets people make money while they're helping people. It's a bit of a contradictory statement because, you know, commerce doesn't normally have the uniqueness to be helping people. So how do you explain that, Lakhi? Can you explain that for everyone? And obviously, Tracy, who's with us now, how does it help? And how do you make money off helping people?
So how can it help somebody like Tracy? Probably the right sort of question. So when Tracy's out there sourcing properties, she's looking to get her finance. She may want to sell something. She may have an issue with the bank, where the bank may say, look, one of your properties, we don't want to lend, and there's or one of our investors might pull out, and she might need some extra cash because they're a bit worried about the market, but she may be a bit more gung-ho about it. So in all these type of situations, we have solutions on the table. So we have a fully fledged estate agency arm, which is UK-wide. It can help you to sell your property. It can also help you to source buyers as well for them. Can you imagine being in a situation where you already got buyers, so you already know that your property is going to be pre-sold to one of our high net buyers because they like the numbers? Second situation is finance. You're looking to, you've got the right properties you want, but then you see another one which is a fantastic deal, but your cash is already tied up. And all the investors that you had, they've already pulled their cash into those two projects. So how can you raise more cash? So we've got access to private lenders that will lend private money to help facilitate those sort of deals. And funny thing is that the bigger money you're borrowing, the cheaper the money I can get. And also with the higher loan to value, I can get money up to 100% lending, up for a minimum 10 million, for example, which is kind of strange. But the bigger money you're borrowing now, the cheaper and the quicker and the easier you can actually get it. But obviously you got to pay, you got to have the credentials to be able to do that.
When you say bigger money, are you mean like, is it like big, like an obese person with lots of fats around it? Or is it larger amount, you mean to say like a larger amount of money? Or are you actually saying big in terms of a big fat man comes and delivers you the money?
The bigger money means what it means, but I'll explain that if you wish, Vijay Sal. So 10 million pounds is, I would say, big money, and 50,000 pounds is small money in terms of the type of money that we can raise. A lot of bridging companies don't like to lend less than 50,000 pounds. On average, I think most of them don't like to lend less than 100 or 200. So that's still somewhat small money. Then we do have lenders that will lend a minimum 100 million. So that's like very big money. So I hope that makes sense anyway. And 100 million can also be small money for some people as well.
Are you saying like a wrestler, what do they call them, Tracy? Those big Japanese wrestlers, what they're called?
I think you mean sumo wrestlers.
Sumo wrestler comes through the door, smashes in your front door and hands you some money. That's what Lakhi means. What do you think is meant by big money? Is it large sums, or is it a big fat sumo wrestler who's going to bust your front door down and hand you some money?
No, I think I agree with Lakhi, and it's definitely large sums with lots of zeros behind it.
Yes, excelente. That's for our listeners as well, for everyone to understand what Lakhi means by big money, because you can be too big to fail, as they say. There's a movie on that, Too Big to Fail. Anyhow, talking about the topic, the RAC model and how it helps. We've covered it. Lakhi's told you the various things that the solution, end solution can provide to potential clients. But I'm still confused. How do you make money and help people at the same time? You still not explained that bit. But before you answer that question, Lakhi Singh, we first have to give a shout out to Mandy, to John Smith, to a new member, Lisa Davidson. Good morning to you too. And we have a fourth person. Nobody's the fourth person is the invisible man. Big shout out. Mandy asked a question yesterday about the membership. I gave an answer, and I think we need to repeat that and make it evident. There may be a requirement, Mandy, that you get the ICO license to upload to get your membership activated. So I'm not sure whether you've missed that somewhere in the process, and if it's not there, I'm sure Lakhi Singh will make sure he'll fix it, as he is the fixer, the property fixer. Okay, Tracy, tell me, if hard work is the key, then the question for this week is, if opportunity was last week, this week is talent. That's it. If you don't have talent, do you think hard work can make it happen? Are you hardworking or are you talented?
I think I'd say probably, hopefully, a bit of both, really.
A mix.
Yeah,
like little
mix. I definitely work hard, but I have been doing what we're doing for a number of years, albeit we had a gap. I had a gap in the middle of it. So I think probably a little bit of each.
Right, so it's a mix of both things. Before we go back to Lakhi and ask him that question that I asked earlier, how do you help people and how do you make money at the same time? You haven't answered that question. You probably deviated over to the services that you provide and what the benefits are of referring clients to the Rescue My Associate or the Rescue My Property team. So a big shout to a lady by the name of a hero, I would say. She's an unsung hero of the alternative business and properties community. Marsha Sandy, I think that's right. And she has referred, or she's brought in about 50 or more people to the group. So a big shout out to Marsha. We'll try and get you on. I'd love to know who you are and what you do. So Lakhi, before, can you answer that question, please? Because you've not answered. I'm a bit confused. How are you helping people and making money at the same time? Because you still haven't answered that question.
So it's quite simple. In this market, a lot of people have got problems because they may have a problem because they can't sell their property easily because they've got some sort of lease issue. So that's a problem. So if somebody like Tracy, let's say Amanda, became an associate of the company, they may not actually know how to solve the problem themselves because they don't specialize in problem solving. They specialize in maybe something else. So they can refer those clients onto us through our CRM. So this is the problem. And simply we will pick up the phone, solve the problem. So hence helping the people while you make money. So we will then pay the introducer, the associate, a commission for that introduction once the client's paid us some fees.
Excellent. Okay. So I think the key feature you said, anybody starting it, that makes sense. That now explains what you're saying. What you're saying is the associate in having their outreach, whether it's through their own contacts or using the process properly where they've got, say, 5 or 10 other people working with them in that structure as an associate, they get somebody come through, it's got a problem, they refer that client through to Rescuemyproperties head office. Head office solves that problem. What you're saying is there's a commission paid back to the associate for having referred the problem. So that makes sense. So you're helping people and making money at the same time. Whereas normally in commerce, you're just making money. You don't see the helping bit. And I think we had a lovely lady on, I think, was it yesterday or the day before? What was her name? Sapna, that's right. From the Northeast, from Newcastle, who actually felt she was doing more than just letting out properties or taking properties on for rent to rent. She actually felt like she was a client to herself. A very, very deep position to be in. Tracy, are you that deep? Do you look at your properties? Do you hug them? Do you hug trees? What do you do?
I don't quite hug trees. I have done in the past, but I don't do it on a regular basis, really, hugging trees.
Anymore?
Sorry, I don't well, I haven't hugged them for a number of years, let's put it that way. But I do agree that we need a connection with nature.
Yeah, so you've got ex-tree boyfriends that live around the corner from you, don't want the stickiness of being in their eye again, just in case you try to stalk you. A bit difficult for a tree to stalk you, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Okay, tell me, do you feel like you're providing a service, or you feel like it's a bit more than just doing, business, or do you have an angle of service on that? Do you think you're helping people in what you're doing sometimes?
I hope so. I hope that's the case. I hope that well, I think I think just by doing what we're doing, we are helping people. We're helping people by maybe relieving them of a problem property that they don't want to manage or look after, or do the maintenance of themselves, or they've, for some whatever reason, it's left in disrepair. I think we help the buyers when they are looking for a nice home to live in. Hopefully everything that we do is done to a standard that we would like to live in ourselves. So I hope then that we help the people that are buying the properties to find a nice home. I think that we also try and help and be fair with our tradesmen and pay them a decent wage. So I feel that distributing some of the profits from what we do is quite important as well. And we do try and use local trades as well as the loyal ones that we take and do on our jobs as well. So yeah, I think that just by being an entrepreneur or being a property developer, I think that you can't help but help people along the way, really. Yes, I think that we do.
That makes sense. I think, Lakhi, is this unique to property business people, or is it across the? Because I don't think you'll find that type level of service or empathy in other service industries. Before we ask you the answer to that question, sorry, we have a shout out for Mr. Mark Johnson, who actually was the invisible man. Yes, big shout out to you, Mark. Thank you so much for telling us who you are. Although we can't see you, we will know who you are by your voice. We'll try and get Mark Johnson on one day, I think. We'll see what he does and who he is. Lakhi Singh, what do you think? Do you think it's unique to property, or is it just that we've come across the females that we've had on all seem to have this sense of purpose behind property, or the empathetic touch? Is that possibly natural, that females are better communicators, better in ethics in business? What do you say, sir?
I don't think it's necessarily the case. I think on the whole, most people are good-natured. I think it's not just based upon gender, and they want to do good, I think, in all aspects. But obviously, women are very nurturing by their nature because, being females, they're mothers, they bring up children with, obviously, so there's a bit more of an extra empathy that women have that men may not have. But on the whole, I would agree that, there's a lot more let's say empathy or compassion towards helping people and wanting well of others. So I think that always goes well if you're in a very people-orientated business. If you're buying, selling, dealing with tradesmen, and people see that you've got a good nature to you, then the business is actually becomes an extension of the person by their nature. If that makes sense. And especially if you're in a small community where people know each other, and if you're known to be somebody who's a helper, then you become the go-to person. So people, Tracy just probably gets a call from somebody saying, by the way, yeah, we love that you bought that property. We've got another one for you. We like the way you managed the purchase and the way you dealt with the solicitors and the agent. So, your reputation is actually key to whatever you do. And if people like you and you've got, that ability to really be a really good communicator, that could be the difference between a couple of £1 million here and there.
Excellente. You're putting us under pressure, Lakhi Singh, when you talk about a couple of £1 million here and there. But no pressure, Tracy. Is that the difference between a couple of £1 million here and there in Bristol? Do you feel that would be the difference?
What, that actually helping people would make a difference between a couple of million?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I like to think that if I don't know if you would say that I believe in karma. I suppose I do, really. I like to think that if you are respectful and you do help other people, that eventually you actually have it repaid in various ways, whether that be financial or other ways. I'm not sure, but no, I do definitely believe that you should treat people how you would like to be treated yourself, and hopefully with those sort of ethics you tend to meet people that are genuine and have the same sort of views, really.
Okay, I mean, look, that's really that's nice. That's lucky. It's squeaky. I like that. Sounds good. But isn't business, by the nature of business, about being a bit of a shark, a bit clinical? Isn't that the way business works? Isn't that the way the markets work? Tracy, what do you say? I'm going to ask you that first.
I think you have a personal choice whether you want to behave like that or whether you want to do things differently. I actually want to be proud of the way I conduct my business, as well as the results that I get. So I would rather not be making millions and be more content and happy with the way that I've dealt with a project than actually perhaps squeezing every last pound out of it for myself and not feeling that good about it. So I'd much rather, I mean, obviously I want to make a profit and I want to be successful. So I'm not saying that I would do it, well, at all costs. I think I would choose to do something else if I couldn't have the values that I have and still make a profit. I think I would probably not be in the right profession and decide that I have to try and do something else.
Ah, that's so sweet. Okay, Lakhi Singh, go over to the city, to the big city. What do you say? Are you a sea lion with a shark fin, or are you a shark dressed as a sea lion? What way around is it?
Well, I think you should never really have like a not necessarily picture perception about really what you're saying about what I think I am. My general ethos is to help people to get them out of complex scenarios. It doesn't necessarily have to be negative. Sometimes people are trying to raise raise a lot of money based upon a complex set of assets. It could only be £50,000 or £30,000. So it's not always millions. Yeah, I would say I'm probably more on the less shark side. I'm probably more like a sea lion with the fin, with the shark fin.
Sea lion with the shark fin.
That's right. So, but the thing is, I'm quite aware of people in the market who are sharks. But if you're in Mayfair, on the whole, if you're not up to speed really what's going on around you, you could just end up actually losing money rather than actually making any money at all, because everybody's actually there and they're very short term in their thinking. Not many people are necessarily about the giving. So there's very few people that are in that mindset. But if they are in that mindset, they're not usually in the Mayfair. They're usually maybe in up north or outside London. But London is a very, very fast-paced sort of situation. So you have to actually filter out people that are going to be very sharkish. And if they are, they just want to talk pure numbers. And happy to also do that. That's because you don't want to be losing business. So the more money you can make, and you've got good values, you can also put it back into other good causes.
Excelente. So, Lakhi Singh, that is obviously a comprehensive understanding of how it is someone like yourself, who is a bit of a sea lion in terms of the sea world terminology, and you managed to stay alive with all these sharks around you. Give a shout out before we go back to Tracy. Samantha Yarwood, big shout out to you. I think she's going to appear on Friday with us. So we're going to have a big get together on Friday, because I think we normally have our VIP guest Mr. Joe Hell on as well. So we're going to have a 3-foursome. It's going to be funny, going to be different. We'll see how we get on, how I juggle the balls. Tracy, come out with what it is you think will be the next year's, important critical points for next year. Do you think the market's going to recover? Are you sniffing a return to the market? You've got another lockdown. Is there tier 3 going on in Bristol? Is there a major lockdown in Bristol?
We've had tier 3 for the last few weeks. So there was, I think our R rate has dropped quite well and sufficiently to think that we may come out of it. But I'm not sure, actually. I think because of the general state of the country, I'm wondering whether they're going to keep us into tier 3, the country, the parts of the country that are already in it, and just add to that, because I think they've decided that we could have Christmas, which was wonderful, but I think they are probably having second thoughts about making that decision, and so I reckon that they'll keep us in tier 3 until Christmas and beyond.
Excellent.
And
the positive outlook for Christmas is going to be you will be in your room on your own with a candle and a piece of the cake that you will be sliding under the door for your partner, for him to eat in his room. So it's going to become somewhat of a different Christmas, isn't it? Have you got family and friends coming around that you've told that they can't come around now then? Is that what's happening?
Well, I think at the moment, well, I'm not an expert on this by any means, but I think at the moment we're limited to having 3 households getting together, and I think it's up to maybe the individual families to protect people that are more vulnerable, and maybe not socialise in even as generous terms as that, really, to take the responsibility for our own family members, and if we feel that there's somebody that is maybe more at risk, to be more careful and not maybe see those.
Okay, so you're out in the country, so I assume you've got plenty of land outside. Are you planning on having Christmas out in the garden in a big tent? Or are you going to keep indoors?
No, I think we'll stay inside and do whatever we can to enjoy it within the regulations, but I think inside, really. I like to be warm, especially at Christmas.
Excelente. Has it started to snow yet, Lakhi Singh? Is it going to be a white Christmas in central London? Have the lights been put up yet in London?
The lights
town?
are up. It's all looking really, really beautiful.
Yes.
It's looking really beautiful, but with hardly a person in sight.
Well, as long as you got lights up, nice to look at. So do you think it's going to be a bit lonely this Christmas? Just like, who sang that song, It'll Be Lonely This Christmas? Do you know, Tracy?
Not at this second, no. I can't remember.
Do you remember?
Lonely this Christmas.
Yeah, that's right. It was somewhere when you were still were you probably in uni then? I wasn't born. But yes, it will be lonely this Christmas. Probably the mud. It was something called some mud, was it? Isn't that the group? That was it. Mud. Is that right? Mud.
Yes, that sounds right. Yes, well done.
There you are. Got that from the memory books. Yes, Mud sang it. It will be lonely this Christmas. There were the what was it now? The teddies, were they? The teddy boys with the Vespa bikes and all that. So it will be lonely this Christmas, Lakhi Singh. Not a nice thing to be doing. So what do you think is going to happen in the new year, Tracy, then? Will you be able to celebrate the new year properly? Or are you going to have a lonely new year as well?
I don't think there'll be many celebrations for New Year. I think New Year is probably more a time where there are larger congregations of people for parties and things, and I think that's probably going to be discouraged. So no, I'm very happy to have a quiet new year. It doesn't bother me.
Okay, excelente. That's what I like. Quiet new year, even though it's going to be maybe a long quiet new year, because tier 3, I think they're saying, will last until the end of Jan, possibly. What are they? What's going to be achieved by that? We don't know, and obviously we assume it's to minimize the outbreak, the second wave of the outbreak. Lakhi Singh, quick question for you. Right, talent obviously is a mix. Tracy says, I think she's got a mix of both talent and hard work. Do you need talent to become an RAC?
I don't think you need talent really to be doing anything. I think if you just do the basic, then you could be easily making a couple of £1,000 a month and a couple of days a week. And if you've got, let's just say you're very talented and actually you do the basic, then and you pay for gold membership, then you could be making an excess of £10,000 a month just from introducing clients and setting up a simple lead generation process using social media, your network, and just talking to people that may need assistance in any manner of property business, or even introducing new gold members is actually going to be a really good income. So you could easily be, making really good money from it.
So, Tracy, before we go on to you and ask you another question, we've got a shout out for Anthony Walker. Apparently he's just joined us as well. The numbers are going up every day. I think we're going around just under the 1,500 mark, I think, nearly. So possibly by next week, we should be over 1,500. But Tracy, tell me then, is the market sort of slowing down because of Christmas? Is it not being affected? Is the market being affected by tier 3 and the Christmas, or is there no difference? Are you still doing business as usual?
Well, at the moment, we're quite committed with the projects we've got going. We always are in the background looking at more opportunities. I think historically, Christmas is a time when everything quiets down anyway, purely by people not wanting to be moving over or around this time of year. So I just think that the COVID situation and tier 3 just emphasises perhaps the natural ebbs and flows of the property market anyway, and it's just making it, exaggerating it really. So I think it's probably just quietened for the normal reasons. Obviously viewings are more difficult in tier 3. Even seeing estate agents, solicitors, everything is more complicated. So I think people, if they don't have to be moving, or it's a time when people don't do anything that they don't actually have to do. So
we've got the lovely Samantha Yarwood, who's just joined us, and she wants to come on and ask a question. Samantha, can we have you on? Can we add you in? Can we have it added in, please? Samantha, good morning.
Hey.
Hiya. How you doing? You've left us. Okay, we'll try and get Samantha back in a bit. She wants to ask a question. Okay, Tracy, you've said that the market and tier 3 generally goes quiet at Christmas. So you think that's going to be, don't you think it's going to be really difficult then to start the new year if everything's in tier 3 though? But don't you think it's going to be quite difficult to switch on a car that's been switched off? That naturally should be warm, should be running all the time.
Well, I just think that I think people tend to reevaluate their lives over Christmas and New Year, particularly, and so it may prompt people to decide to move, change their situation, and that generally sort of just kickstarts the market naturally, I think. So it's obviously it's not an ideal situation. It would be easier for it to be kicking, sort of like as you said, ticking over in the background. Then it's not such a shift in energy to try and get the market going again. But I think people will always have to move. There's always situations that change, and therefore the market will have to be kick-started again in the new year. You can't stop it because of people's lives change, and so their living situation changes as well.
Right, there's a pointer for you, Lakhi Singh. You're sitting in the heart, or as we say in another part of the body in the city. You're sitting there, and Tracy says the market has to recover. What do you say? What are the word around town? What's going on in terms of have you got latest input and information regarding what the city is going to do, the markets are going to do? Is there going to be a quick start back to the new year? Are the banks looking to start business again? Is it still going to be at the moment as business as usual until further notice? Before I ask you to answer that question, we have a question from Mark, who's just joined us, who says, what is RAC? Sir, RAC is a rescue associate, and you will find him on or her on the Rescuemyproperties website. If you go in there, you will find lots of videos, lots of information about what a rescue associate is about. We'll ask Lakhi to give us a summary on that somewhere after he's answered this question. So tell me, what does the city say? What's happening in the city? Is there a vibe? Are we going to be getting a new kickstart with all the banks? Are they going to be, are we going to go back to business as usual, Lakhi Singh? What's happening?
I think the banks have got a huge backlog of, let's say, work, a lot of new accounts being set up, and they can't really cope with the demand from the last 6 months. So I don't think anything's really going to be happening in terms of returning to any normalcy, even now with the vaccine being introduced, till at least middle of 21. A lot of people are preparing to hire any staff or take on new staff. Probably by about March, April time, they're going to start to look again for new staff, because some of them have actually re-recruiting and restructuring their business, ready to scale up to normal business again. But a lot of them actually decided not to keep staff, especially if the business might be a bit lean during COVID-19 pandemic lockdowns and tier 3 type situations. So I think also depends, it's a bit industry sector specific as well. So obviously not much happening in hospitality. Literally they're opening up for a few weeks and then closing down again. So I'm not sure really how much of the retail or hospitality industry is going to survive that sort of thing, because there's only so long they can actually do that for until they run out of funds, or their staff actually probably go and find another job elsewhere, because if they're on zero contract hours or that sort of thing, it's not going to be easy to actually then start those sort of businesses. But on the whole,
so you're basically alluding back to the fact that the RAC, the associate model, is an excellent way of people helping people and making money. And I think that this is an excellent opportunity for you to answer Mark's question, what is an RAC? Just give us a summary so that we have a recap. What is a rescue associate? What do you do with the rescue associate? And what does the rescue associate get for referring business to Rescuemyproperties?
So RAC is just a bit of a play of words to associated people, a bit like the AA, associated agent, which is we help people with roadside assistance. So that's where the idea came from. So we called it Rescue Associate. So it's spelled rescue with ASSO, then a capital C, then IATE. That's the sort of structure. So as an associate, there's a huge income opportunity because literally anybody that needs any help in terms of finding a new income opportunity, you can offer them the opportunity. Anybody that's actually looking for a solution to sell their property or buy a property, we've got access to buyers if you're selling. We've got access to sellers if you're buying. And if you've got a repossession problem because you've gone into arrears during COVID-19 times because you've lost your job, then we've got expertise in helping people that are losing their portfolio, because we're leading experts in LPA receiverships in the country, in the UK. And if you've got a house that you may have arrears in and you've got to go to court, and the courts are going to be open again soon, and you don't know how to handle that, we are experts in stopping repossession within 24 hours anywhere in the United Kingdom, because we work with 200 solicitors to literally go to court and represent you. We've got the ability to do that. And fourthly, if you've got finance requirement, whether it's a business loan, a bounce back, whether it's personal loan, whether it's getting hold of the right broker for a residential mortgage, or whether it's actually just getting a quick bridge finance for a first charge or a second charge loan, and you don't know how to do it.
Just 1 minute, Lakhi, hold on. Before you continue, we've got the gentleman on himself. Mark is going to be on. Can we have Mark, who's listening quietly in the background? Can we have you on, sir? Mark.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah, morning.
Morning, sir. Yes.
Morning.
So I was quite interested to find out what the RAC package was all about and where you could find more information on that.
Excellent. Well, there's a website called Rescuemyproperties. It has lots of information or lots of videos on there telling people how to take advantage of it. And in reality, it's really about using social media and using contacts and a simple Pardon? Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you?
Excellent, right. So it's about using social media, using your contact base, simple networking, and helping people who can't really find the right type of solutions for their property or business problems. That's literally what it is. And in referring those clients, you get a commission, depending upon the membership level, paid back to you if the client avails any of the services. That's really a simplistic way of explaining what the RAC model is about. So for detailed information, you can ask Lakhi again if you want to give Mark a quick summary, because we're running out of time. You want to give Mark another understanding of it?
Sure. Morning, Mark. How you doing?
Morning, Lakhi. Okay, thank you.
Good. Whereabouts are you based, Mark?
Eton.
Sorry?
Eton.
Eton. Wow, that's nice.
Eton. Near Nottingham.
Near Nottingham. Okay. So basically, quite simple. It's a UK-wide model to create a new income, but the minimal cost is normally a £2,000 basic membership, a yearly membership. But because people are stuck, we've decided to actually not charge the £2,000. We're giving the membership away for free during the duration of the pandemic. So simple is you just got to have an IPO license for £40. Got to register, and there's pretty much all the information is on the Rescuemyproperties website. You've got about 30 YouTube clips which explain the whole aspect of what we do. But we are like a solution provider to in terms of real estate, in terms of finance, in terms of legal problems, in terms of tax solutions or debt sort of consolidation or insolvency matters. So it's very like a one-stop shop for anything that moves in property. So we've got about 20 staff. We've actually geared up to support people during this difficult time with this Facebook group. So the idea is to actually grow these groups and spread the message and help people. Then you can make money while you're helping people with these complex problems without having to be super technical, because you're not consultants. You're going to be just referring clients on a lead basis. And every time you get a client in, the basic membership, you would make 5% commission on 2,500 as a general figure. So, you know, you can easily make a couple of £1,000 a month just working 2 days a week. But you got to be quite organized and systemized. So we'll be organizing a weekly call to anybody that's interested and that's already an associate on the Zoom. So, you know, just maybe send us a DM and we can get you registered and also put you on that WhatsApp group so you can be up to speed.
Brilliant. Okay.
Excellente. Right. Okay, Mark. What do you do, sir? What's your background?
Well, just gone through a massive change. I've been a landlord for 15 years. I've got 2 properties I rent out, one a student let and one a single resident, 3-bed single resident. I've been in the motor trade for 33 years. I'm currently a manager for Mercedes-Benz in Lincoln, and I've got a redundancy package after 23 years with that company. Set up my own property company, and I'm doing a tenant find service at the moment, so it's in my local area. I've not got any properties under management at the moment. I've got a few people interested, but they're all in contracts with other people, so it's just putting the feelers out there and spreading the word.
Excellent. That sounds like something. Well, if you give your details over, there may be some other interesting things that are happening on the property side with the rescue associate model that may suit you, more to do on the property side, that may help you in actual fact get more business in.
Yeah, well, I'm also going to an auction company as well, so trying to bring properties to auction rather than direct treaty sales. So I'm looking at that as well. So this sort of ties in with all that as well, really. I've got a couple of people I already know that are struggling financially and might be going bankrupt. So I'm trying to help them, but they need to talk to you if you want to help them. You know what I mean? So I'm also doing the DEA course. So I'm going to become an EPC assessor in January. I've passed my exam. I've just done a portfolio yesterday for marking. I can do floor plans now and eye survey check-ins and check-outs. So it's all property now.
Okay, excellent. Well, Tracy, you see there an example of flexibility, people realizing you use the word the market changing, and I think for all the difficulties that we've got, people are out there trying to find another way of doing business, and it seems like somebody who is quite versatile. What do you say, Tracy? Is that the type of thing that's happening in your neck of the woods?
I can't say that I have any personal experience of that. I think that you have to be aware all the time and realize if what you're doing is going to be becoming more difficult, and diversifying slightly and trying to think of other income streams, whether that be linked to what you're doing at the moment or outside of that. So I just think that that's something that everyone should be perhaps aware of and looking at anyway.
Yeah, I think actually, but it shows, look, there's people out there looking for alternative ways of doing business, and it's admirable. Lakhi Singh, what do you say? Mark's way of realigning himself and doing business. Does that sound something where you can help, or the fixer could help, or the alternative way of doing business could help?
Yeah, I think that the whole community has been set up primarily because we've been saying for the last couple of years that the market's going to change, and that the whole situation financially and obviously from a health point of view is like a massive sort of change for a lot of people. So the community is ready to support you, and anything that you need help with, you can actually put into the group and say, I need help with this, this, and this. And not only will our panel of experts that we're lining up for the new year be able to help you, we're getting about 6 panel of experts which are going to be dedicated between 9 and 5 to help you. But you'll also have the whole community there to actually give you support as well. And if you need anything from me directly, I'm always available 24 hours to be able to assist any contacts or deals or anything that we can help with, really.
The more people that come on, the quicker the time seems to fly away. Sorry for that. We're going to have to close off today. Mark, you are formally invited. You can come in again and tell people more about what you're doing. Lots of people watching you for some reason. You're not a bit of a Richard Gere, are you? Somebody who's got the ladies after him. A lot of people wanting to watch, so you need to come back on.
And I've not pictures, so, I'm not out.
Right. So you get all these people watching you now, so they're probably going to want to know a bit more about what you do. There may be lots of interesting things that will come out of the conversation, lots more information for people who are still part of the alternative business and property solutions community. Tracy, lovely having you on again. It seems like we can't
Thank
get
you for having me.
We need to keep coming back, and we need to keep having you. Mark, an invite to you whenever you want. You can turn up. We've got a couple of new listeners coming in. We've reached the 30 now, going upwards, and we've got approximately, how many was it on the YouTube? 290 on YouTube, nearly at the 300 mark. Okay, so take care, everyone. See you soon. Tracy, love you and leave you. Mark, leave you, and you can be loved by someone else. And Lakhi Singh.
Take care, guys.
Take care, guys.
See you next time.